Jai Gurudev. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Gurudev. We'll have a 10-minute manana on chapter 10 to 15-minute manana, and then we'll go to chapter 2 today. So anyone can share? So ultimately, it is only through knowledge. So when a wise person, it does not really matter which kala, whether it's Shukla Paksha or Krishna Paksha, or that a person passes on, as long as he has attained the knowledge. For him, it does not matter. But it is only for those that are in between, who are on the path and not yet attained the goal. For them, it kind of matters which paksha they pass on. So, and then again, for those that are totally ignorant, who are not even on the path, it does not matter whether they pass away in the Dakshinayanam or the Uttarayanam.
So people who are on the path but not attained that
Moksha.
jnana, and if they pass off in Dakshinayana kalam, moksha, then what happens?
They come back.
They come back. But people who are on the path and not yet attained moksha, but pass on in Uttarayana kalam, where will they go?
According to what Bhagwan said, they will go to Brahma Loka.
Oh.
But that yoginaha is important, the qualified person who is on the path. So that we don't know to what extent, what intensity of a yogi he is.
And what is Shivaloka? Who goes there?
I think they all mean the same, whether it's Brahma Loka or Shiva, they are only names given. The Shaivites would have given Shiva Loka, in the Vedanta it's mentioned Brahma Loka. So I suppose they all mean the same.
I have heard that people who have done good deeds, good karma and all, go to Indra Loka and enjoy the heaven. And once that their credit is over, they come back to the earth. So that is about Indra Loka. I don't know about Vishnu Loka, Vaikunta, where Gurudev has said there is nothing, no lack in Vaikunta. In Shiva Loka, it's only celebration. This is what Gurudev has said. Now, I don't know who goes where.
Yeah.
I think what I have heard is any other loka you go, if you're a yogina, as Brahmaraji said, then you can attain mukti there. That is called krama mukti. You go there, again you will listen to Vedas and all that, and then get liberated there. But human beings have this possibility of getting liberated here itself. So generally, seekers would say that why wait, go there and let's get it here. That's how I've heard it. That's Krama Mukti, and here you can get Mukti here.
Jivan Mukti.
Jivan Mukti.
Yeah. It's like getting grace marks if you're on the edge, like maybe 1 mark less, then you might be promoted to Brahmaloka. And then few more questions, and then if you answer, then finish.
Could be. Only one thing that is guaranteed is that, um, I mean, I honestly don't know the significance of the Uttarayanam. Why is that given more importance? Both are yogis only, no? See, but the same yogi, if he passes on in Dakshinayanam, he comes back. But whereas if he passes on in Uttarayanam, he goes forward, as in goes to Brahmaloka and so on. But if I remember right, I mean, my memory is right, Gurudev had mentioned the way we pass on from where the prana leaves the body, and the time of death also is quite significant. So maybe this is something that we have to just go with Shraddha, because our logical mind might not be able to comprehend, subtle truths like this. Maybe we should just use the element of Shraddha there.
I think here also the prarabdha works, and it is determined when how you pass your prana. That is also fixed.
Yeah.
So maybe it is
There
to
are
do with the
some,
prarabdha.
correct. There are some who defecate and they pass away their prana. That is the lowest, I was told. But as you ascend higher up, there are some people who just breathe their last. There are some who vomit and then they pass on. And then those, I think, the most exalted of beings, the prana will leave from the Sahasrara. So it depends on from which randhra, which opening the prana leaves.
These are dependent on the these 5 pranas, right? How it goes off, and governed by Shani again. And the second house tells you how you are going to pass.
That is why they say of all the rahasyas, birth is a rahasyam. How a person is born, into which womb he is born, to which parents he is born. Janma rahasyam, marana rahasyam. Even the way we pass on is such a mystery. Is a secret. The karma is also a rahasyam. How, when, where, with whom you are associated with, how your enemies become your friends, and vice versa. So all that is the karma rahasyam. So these rahasyas, I think we just have to acknowledge that they are there and not put too much of our small mind and try and understand logically. You may not be able to arrive at any logical conclusion. We just have to move with faith. Kuch jaan ke chalo, kuch maan ke chalo. I think this is the one that we have to just मान के चलो.
Yeah, anyways, we don't have much control or influence on those things.
Correct. No. What we can do, we should do. We have our control is in the Purushartha. Let's put in all our effort on the self-effort, and
Then
and
at the
do as
right
much.
time, the right things will happen.
Yeah, correct.
And that's why Guruji has named it art of living. You know, he's never said after birth or before birth or after. It is now, when in the present moment, how you live your life.
He was mentioning in this Pandakarika, he was mentioning in the tombstone, in the gravestone, they only write the date of birth and the date of death. They don't say this person lived. Then they write rest in peace. So it does not matter. What matters is not when you were born, when you died, but how well you lived in this path, on this planet. And that is what is significant. So today I think
Another thing about transcending the mind by the mind. That was
Yeah.
also very interesting.
And that Chandogya Upanishad, I mean, I didn't know there's such a beautiful, explanation where all the senses, the senses, the mind, and the buddhi, intellect, and the pranas have a conclave. And then each one is saying, I'm great. And how each one's, you know, loses its significance. And then ultimately it is the prana, which is, once the prana, as long as the prana is there, everything else is there. Once that itself is not there, then everything else loses its significance. So nothing can claim superiority over the other.
And if you remember yesterday, Guruji was saying, I mean, somebody asked the question, and then he was saying, the mind and self are no different. The mind, when it is without the thoughts, is a self. That is, correct. Did he say that? I mean, I just vaguely remember.
Yeah. He gave the analogy of the ocean and the wave. The ocean is in and through the wave. Wave is just like the mind. It's a ripple of energy wherein you have thoughts, where there is perceptive ability. So if the ocean itself is not there, where is the wave? So the mind exists because of the self, and the self is now no different from the mind. So transcending the mind here, as Nana rightly pointed out, is transcending the corrupt mind, the not so, the small mind, the dirty mind. And you're going to the pure mind. That is the self. That is nothing but the self. So we'll go to chapter 2 now. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to share a small thing that at the
go on.
end of Sudarshan Kriya, we always come to that Satchittananda, no? Most often.
The mind is so tricky that it transcends that habitual pattern it has become to go for the Kriya, and then we know last May you are going to lie down, and then slowly the mind comes up, and but the Guru's grace is so much that definitely that Satchidanand, you transcend the mind somehow, at least for a few seconds. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, the mind quietens. You're in a high state of sattva, no? That is what happens of Sudarshan Kriya. Yeah. So we did this shloka last time. I will just quickly run through the shloka and then the meaning. Yes sarvatranabhisnehaha tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. For the one who is unattached in all situations, who does neither rejoices on gaining the pleasant nor hates the unpleasant, his knowledge is well established. If you remember, recollect, these are all the qualities of the Sthita Prajna that Bhagwan is giving in reply to Arjuna's question of Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava. The Muni discussed in the last verse is the person referred to here. We did this. A Muni or a Jnani, one who has the capacity for vichara and therefore knowledge. Such a person is said to be unattached to anything. Sarvatra anabhisneha. Sneha means affection or love. The literal meaning of this word in Sanskrit is anything viscous, like oil or glue. If you touch it, it sticks to you. Thus, anything sticky is called sneha. Affection is considered to be sneha because the person for whom you have affection sticks to you. Even if the person is away from you, he or she is always with you in your thoughts. Because there is sharing involved, the other person's joys and sorrows become your joys and sorrows. You are deeply affected by the person, and therefore there is sneha, affection between the two of you. Affection need not be a problem. However, attachment, abhisneha, is definitely a nuisance. When a mother has affection for her child, there is no problem because the child needs the affection in order to grow well, to be fondled, talked to, listened to, and cared for, all of which is sneha, is very important for the child's growth. But what usually happens is that affection becomes attachment. And attachment means there is a strangulation of some kind. Instead of being an object of your affection, the person becomes an object to be possessed and controlled. The need to control is a common problem everywhere. It is also a very old problem, which is why Krishna addressed it in this verse. Attachment is not there for a wise person. His or her heart is never caught anywhere. It is always free and its own place. In fact, most of us have empty hearts because that which is our heart has been distributed in little bits to various places. A little bit in the furniture, another bit in the carpet, still other bits in your bank balance, and a variety of other things. All that is left is a ticking heart. Everything else has been liberally distributed around and about. In this way, we lose our hearts in quite a few places. And even so, say so, I lost my heart. Your mind is always where your heart is. And where will your mind be? Where the heart is, because that is where you are. Wherever the emotional attachment is, the mind will run right to it. Thus, the heart being in 100 different places, the mind, attempting to keep pace with it, necessarily goes to the same 100 places and, in fact, finds it quite difficult to cope with all the travel. This is what this reminds me of our needs and responsibilities list that we make in our happiness program. The more needs you have, the more responsibilities you have, your life is a struggle. If your list is equal, your life is a struggle, right? But if you have more responsibilities and less needs, then your life is a song. So when we distribute our heart into different things and the mind therefore follows the heart, we are caught up in trying to satisfy each one of that. A person who has a wound involving pain and a little swelling will look at the wound every few minutes and stroke it ever so gently. Because there is pain and a lot of healing activity going on, the wound receives all of the person's love and attention. The mind goes there because the heart is there. The whole system naturally wants to fight it out and will certainly not allow the mind to dwell upon the meaning of Satchit Ananda at this time. Thus, our attachment is towards many things and many places, including heaven, none of which attracts the wise. Any description of heaven that you can think of, no matter how seemingly perfect, will not interest a wise person. He or she is one who is not caught up anywhere, whose heart is with him or her and never gets lost. Such a person may have love, friendship, affection, and care, but nothing more. This is why the prefix abhi is added to the word sneha. That the wise person may have affection, but no attachment is evidenced throughout the Upanishads and the Gita. Krishna definitely had affection for Arjuna when he said, "Oh, my friend, I am teaching you because you are my devotee and I am your friend." He talked to him very fondly. We find many expressions in the Upanishads meaning Somya, oh, pleasing one, etc., referring affectionately to a student. The point is that while there is affection, there is no attachment. Attachment helps no one, definitely not the mumukshu. The verse also tells us that the wise person does not dance for joy over desirable situations or hate undesirable situations. Shubha shubham tat tat prapya na abhinandati na dveshti. The word shubha here means that which is good, auspicious, pleasant, and desirable. And ashubha means that which is unpleasant, like death, disease, and so on. To hate an undesirable situation is nothing but refusal to accept a fact. A wise person does not hate a given situation, meaning that he or she accepts it as it is and therefore does not subject himself or herself to sorrow. Isn't this in line with what we all discussed yesterday? We discussed quite at length about how after what Madhuri ji had mentioned, uh, you're in a different level and then you go out into the world and meet up with people. And so a wise person does not get,
Everything, right? Mm.
huh?
Accepts everything as it is and
Huh.
not
He
not
doesn't
not
enjoy,
making happy or sad because
right,
of that. He's not he's stable minded throughout, so
correct.
that yeah, actually I was thinking about that as well yesterday. We talked about it a lot, but
Right.
I think that step by step we have to improve on this.
See, to hate an undesirable situation is nothing but refusal to accept a fact. Well, what I mean is not like you knowingly you put your hand in fire and get burnt and say, "Oh, my finger is burnt." No, no, not like that. But there are, as a grihastha, there are sometimes it could be just with your family. I mean, not everyone in your family is on the same wavelength. When you have
Mhm.
children around, they may want to go out, they may want to go here and there, they may want to watch a movie. So if you want to spend some quality time, so be it, do it. But don't get uh, don't get averse to that situation. That's what I meant. It is not like you wantonly seek such a situation, but if it so happens, you take it in your stride. A wise person does not hate a given situation, meaning that he or she accepts it as it is and therefore does not subject himself or herself to sorrow. In the face of both the pleasant and unpleasant, the auspicious and inauspicious, the wise person is the same, samaha. For a yogi, it is a matter of attitude, born of a certain understanding, whereas for a jnani, it is a natural, spontaneous expression. This is the only difference. So for a jnani, he doesn't need to do any effort, but for a yogi, he has to at least come to this fact. It's an attitudinal shift. So for us, our understanding, yogi is someone who is still on the path, like a karma yogi, whereas a jnani is someone who's already um, attained the goal.
And you use the two words for yoga nishtha and yoga brashta, right? What is
Yeah.
yoga brashta? I mean, he's gone uh, off the path, is it?
No, no, no. He's not gone off the path. He is on the path, but because of his prarabdha, he leaves his body without attaining the goal. That is a yoga bhrashta.
Okay.
Yoga nishta is one who is steadfast on the path. That is the, that's the meaning of yoga nishta. Whereas a yoga nishta can become a yoga bhrashta if he leaves the body without attaining the goal. Whereas a yoga nishta can become a jnani while living in the body when he becomes a jivan mukta.
So yoga bhrashta, it's not because of its deeds, it's because of its prarabdha.
Yeah, because of his prarabdha. And these people are born in all those Shuchinam, Shrimatam, Gehe. Yeah, just 1 second, 1 minute. So in his commentary on this verse, Shankara confirms that the one who remains the same in the face of both pleasant and unpleasant situations is well established in knowledge. This is because the person is free from the swings of joy and sorrow, elation and depression. There are no stock market highs and lows because the person's knowledge is born of Atma Anatma Viveka, discrimination between the real and the unreal. So this does not necessarily mean only situations. This unpleasant thing is also death, disease, all this that happens that a person encounters.
So there is a difference between the yogi and the wise person. Is that what it is?
Yeah, a yogi and a jnani. Yogi versus a sthita prajna. Sthita prajna
So
is
the
like
yogi is more of a karma yogi. That what it meant, or I thought yogi means it could be jnana yogi too. So I was.
But here, I think as Nana had mentioned earlier also, the term yoga is to be understood in the context. So mostly yoga had meant the term yogi is mentioned for karma yoga, and the word sankhya or jnana is for a jnana yogi. Sthita prajna is a jnana yogi again. So
But does it not go hand in hand?
Which one?
Jnana yogi and the karma yogi. How they are different? I mean, karma yogi, unless he knows what is right and wrong, and he doesn't, unless he knows, he won't walk on the right path, right? Then is he not a jnana yogi also?
No, karma yogi is he has the attitude. It's basically to do with his attitude as to what all karma he does. He does it with that attitude of a yajna bhava. He's offering everything to the divine, and he takes whatever he gets with a prasada buddhi. Whereas a jnana yogi is a step ahead. He's a jnana nishta. So karma yogi is only creating the base for jnana to happen.
Does that mean jnana yogi doesn't do any karma? He is on the karma. He's doing karma, right? He's
Yeah. That was the whole topic of karma sannyas, jnana karma sannyasa yoga. No, I think chapter
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
That was the whole topic of that, wherein with jnana you do karma sannyasa. So, although at one point Bhagavan says both karma yoga as well as jnana yoga lead you to the point, but karma yoga does not directly lead you to the goal. With karma yoga paves the way for jnana to happen, and therefore then that is when you attain moksha.
Yeah.
So both are important. So which means if you're just doing karma yoga throughout, without jnana, then you're not going to get there. So a karma yogi is actually one who does his actions with an attitude of karma yoga, but also is pursuing knowledge. That is a true karma yogi, not someone who just has an attitudinal shift. He has both.
Lot of background noise.
I think we'll mute. If someone is not talking, if you can just mute yourself. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think inadvertently we get unmuted and then that causes some problems. So in a way, if we are following the path of karma yoga, it is that attitudinal shift in how we relate to our work, how we do our work, plus knowledge. So that is why ultimately both karma yoga as well as jnana yoga lead you to the path. Because a karma yogi is not someone who is just doing karma yoga with the karma yoga anushtana. He's also pursuing knowledge. So when the time is right, when your mirror is completely clean, then you get a proper reflection of yourself. You're able to see yourself. So karma yoga is the process of cleaning up our mirror.
I also wanted to ask you, I know it's not from the second chapter, the one where we've been reading throughout all these things, I probably, we asked the same question before. This Bhagavan Krishna, he keeps saying, who is devoted to me or steadfast to me or something like that, right? I mean, when he says, and also some places where the people are not thinking about me and all that stuff. So I'm wondering, so we kind of know that this God is limitless and formless and all that. So how is this meant here when he said to me, meaning to Lord Krishna, or is it something, it's not literal meaning, right? It's just more of
I think it is the Nirguna Brahma, which is not Krishna as in his physical form with his peacock feather and flute and all that. That
right.
can be, that could be in the beginning stages, but ultimately, I think what the import of the meaning is that you think of the Nirguna Brahma, which is Satchit Ananda, which is all pervading. So that attribute, that is what the
The
yoga.
Saguna Brahma is the one with the attribute, which means they have this character kind of thing, right? Like Krishna. So there's a Nirguna Brahma not having that form.
Yeah, the formless. So the journey is from the form to the formless.
That's right. So we are kind of have to transform there. So
yeah.
So when he says to me, there's only one God that we have to be thinking about in terms of that.
Right.
Okay. That you can say Parabrahma or whoever, you don't have to have name and form. And, okay. Got it. Okay.
See, this now makes sense, no? All the karma kanda and all that. For beginners on the path, in order for them to to yoke their mind into this path and take it away from the materialistic world, there are so many deities, so many pujas and rituals and everything, so that at least they're able to discipline their mind. They bring their mind onto something which is higher, uplifting, rather than getting it rather than let it go away in the mundane world. So for that, you have all of this. But therefore, you require all the forms. You have different forms, and then your Ishta Daivam, whichever deity you seem attracted to, you hold on to that and continue your upasana. But as you go higher in the path, with jnana, you know that these other forms are only different manifestations. And ultimately, they all mean the same. They all represent the same divine energy, which is the Nirguna Brahma, which is the mm, the unmanifest, the supreme unmanifest, the Parabrahma. So when you understand that, then the forms lose their significance. No, whether you have a murti of Krishna or Ganesha, it doesn't really matter, because ultimately you are yoking yourself to the highest.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Very nicely explained, Ramraj. All the steps very clearly you have opened up petal by petal, very nice. From form to formless. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. And here, just one thing, funny thing I want to share. Gurudev said, this all Bhagavad Gita happened at the battlefield, no? And they were surrounded by all, the situation was very critical. And when a war was over, everything was uh, in peace and everything nice. Then again, Arjuna asked Krishna, at that time it was the battlefield, something I grasped, something I couldn't. I was in total mess myself. Now it is such a nice peace time. Krishna, now please narrate the same thing again, na? So that peacefully I can understand, go through it and understand properly. Krishna started laughing. Uh, at that time it happened. Now it happens or it doesn't happen, I don't know. Because that time Krishna at the battlefield, he transcended his name and form and everything, and he was speaking from that highest level of blossomed consciousness. So I just like a funny way Gurudev mentions this story. So just I wanted, I felt like sharing with you all
Yeah.
that ultimate thing. It's not necessary when you are in that total Atma Bhav, that time this knowledge gets revealed fully into you. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah. Nice. So having the Atma Anatma Viveka, that Viveka is so important between the real and the unreal. So when you have this Viveka, then you remain steadfast, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, whether highs or lows in your life. So Viveka is the first pillar of knowledge. Very important. Krishna described the same person further in the next verse. Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. So yada, when, cha, and ayam, this person, kurmaha, turtle, angani, limbs, iva, like, indriyarthebhyaha, from sense objects, indriyani, sense organs, sarvashaha, completely, samharate, is able to withdraw, tasya, is prajna, knowledge, pratishtita, is steady. And when, like the turtle that withdraws its limbs, this person is able to completely withdraw the sense organs from their objects, his knowledge steady. This verse was also in response to Arjuna's question about how a Sthita Prajna interacts with the world. The word cha connecting it to the previous verse. The wise person's capacity to manage his or her mind and senses is what is now being discussed. A person may have jnana, but for that knowledge to be steady, he or she must be able to withdraw the sense organs from the sense pursuits at will. Although the senses themselves are not harmful, they are referred to as the villains by the Shastra and by ourselves. For example, we make such statements as, I am okay, but my sense organs take me for a ride. My eyes alone take me to New York's 42nd Street. My ears also take me places. My sense organs are turbulent. They are the ones doing all the mischief. I am in their hands, the victim of my sense organs. So we'll do this. Sense organs are not to blame tomorrow. So we'll stop here today. One other thing that from what we were discussing yesterday, I wanted to share was there is the jnani sees action and inaction and inaction and action, right? So, or also what is day to the ajnanis is night to the jnani and vice versa. So if at all we are, uh, in a situation where it's not really conducive for our growth, that is where I think, like the kurma, we just need to withdraw our sense organs and revel in that inner silence when there is a lot of cacophony going around outside. So this ability to withdraw is what we have to develop.
And with this attitude, you can attend any of the parties.
Yeah, that is true. But then you don't make it a habit. If it's inevitable that you're having to attend, that's fine. But ultimately, see, because even a great person, this path is like a razor sharp edge, no? Even a sannyasi can fall down.
Yeah,
And if he falls like the ball rolling down the stairs. It's like a
true,
steep fall.
true.
So
Because
therefore,
he is with all the three gunas, right?
yeah,
Anytime anything can come up.
can happen. So you wantonly do not go and seek such things, but
Hmm.
if it is inevitable, then that is where what Vijayji said is very important, where you prioritize what is important, what is necessary, what is. So when you prioritize, then all the not so important things fall away from your life. You hold on to what is important.
Hari Om, today, I mean, it was very, very revealing, very beautiful. I mean, after watching Gurudev's yesterday's sessions as well, it was very, very nice. It was so much, I mean, coming back to the center, coming back to that Satchidanand. And today, Swamiji's that snigdha word I love the most, that you remain sneha, like it is snigdhata, the viscosity, which is a problem. Like when you remain that that something stick to you. So don't become like that. Remain free of that. That was very nice. So feeling so beautiful. Very nice. Dhanyavad,
Difference
Ramaradi.
between affection and attachment, no?
Yeah,
Yes.
and also I thought that other thing, when the Atma, you see yourself, and also you see the Atma in other, you see self and other people also the same thing, right? So in that sense, whether they are talking to you nicely or not nicely, till we are going to treat them all as the same, so all Atmas are same. And in that aspect, so at least then we just have to ignore certain things and just move on. Sometimes, yeah, you can try to, like Persiji said, like if they are accepting your suggestion, it's nice. Sometimes it doesn't, however much you try, they don't, then there's more argument will happen. So that, you just leave it at that and move
That
on.
is why the mantra is educate and ignore. You cannot
Ignore.
not educate. See, when you see something not nice happening, it is
Yeah.
out of responsibility that you want to educate. You want to
Right.
make a difference. So you make a difference. And then
Yeah.
ignore.
Yeah, it doesn't help, then you just, okay, move on, not losing anything.
Because out of affection, you are educating. But if
Right.
you are attached, then you will get into control mode and
Yeah.
you'll want to go on. Then you become a nagger.
Yeah, that, when you're practicing medicine, you see that every single day with the people, and it's very rewarding when they all try to, okay, take it in themselves and do it, and it's their own benefit. It's not your benefit. It helps, so sometimes people kind of argue about it. Okay, you leave it at that, you get given the suggestion, and it helps. So we have to go on. Yeah,
That is true.
that's
For the
nice.
benefit of all of us here in the Manana group, we are watching Spandakarika. I'm not sure how many of you have watched already Gurudev's commentary on the Spandakarika. So we
Was
have
that
an
yesterday?
opportunity. They have extended it till the 7th of August. We'll be watching it at 10 o'clock Bahrain time, 10 and 5 p.m. So if any of you is keen to, please send me a message. We'll be logging in on the same Gita Zoom link itself. 10 o'clock Bahrain time will be 12:30 India time, and 5 Bahrain time will be 7:30 India time. So if you wish to, you can log in. Just that you may have to be a little patient. The video for some reason is lagging a bit. Sometimes there is video is there, but there's no audio output and vice versa. But it is really beautiful knowledge. It is based on a Kashmiri Shaivism. It's called Spandakarika. It is a scripture from Kashmiri Shaivism that we'll be watching. So, and this is only for this select group, because ideally we are not supposed to be broadcasting it on Zoom and all that, but it is only with that pure intention of sharing that we said we'll do it. Few of us had joined together yesterday and we were doing it. So any of you wants to join in, you can please note the timings and then join in.
India time, I didn't understand. 12:30 our lunch time, that time, or
11:30 India time, 11:30.
No, India time
12:30. 12:30.
12:30. 10 o'clock Bahrain time is 12:30 India time.
Yeah, 12:30.
daytime,
Sorry.
daytime 12:30.
Daytime 12:30 and
Okay, I will join.
Yeah, evening it's at 7:30 your time.
12:30 I will join. Today it is there?
Yeah. We're watching, I think, the 4th session or so.
Yes,
and,
yes. I will join.
we'll,
Fourth session.
Yeah.
Then you do some Manana also?
Yeah, we can do some Manana also on that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Jai Guru.
Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Dhanyavad.